Greetings, fellow nerds on the internet. Today we're going to take a look at a game that will certainly improve your skills at the game. Most definitely when playing a tribe that is not particularly the best tribe for the situation. Alright, let's get right into this game. It is a game that was played by me, and I was playing against one of my best friends. And go say hi because they sometimes watch this video. Um, so yeah, we are playing. They chose Polaris, and I chose a random tribe, and I got these silly goobers. They have the best music, but they are goofy goobers. And yeah, we are playing on the 256 continents map. And yeah, so what is going to happen? They picked Polaris, which is not particularly the best tribe for continents in some situations. Um, in this case, they got really unlucky because, uh, as you know, probably spawns on continent maps have an increased likelihood of spawning you next to the water, which for Polaris is great because they have all the stuff to get across the water. And me, on the other hand, yeah, that doesn't really happen. um, Alright, so let's just check what's going to happen in this game. I'm going to try and give some advice for our opponent here because they are quite new to like very competitive kind of games like this. So yeah. Alright, so turn 0, I'm going to start up with this little hint. Um, it is generally not the greatest plan to research a technology on turn 0. It just wrecks your chance to expand early on. If you can't upgrade your capital on turn 0, it is usually the best course of action to just train another warrior. Or in Polaris' case, if you spawn with a whole bunch of water, it might be best to play another Mooney. So that's just something that I would have probably done differently. The spawn though with the terrain, it is very Quetzali like terrain, so yeah, fruits are probably going to be used anyhow. So just wait until you can actually upgrade anything. Alright, now for our turn. Yep, as you can see, we do go with that plan. It is just standard. Um, what I also told my opponent, because we are just friends, and we were just chatting about the game and stuff, and they were unaware that resources indicate an increased likelihood of spawning a village next to them. So that is why we chose to go to the fruit here and not this way. Also, this way is also quite likely. Although, as you can see here, you can get tricked because um, border growth could ruin all of that logic. Basically. But in this case, we are going to probably need the most fruit because that's, I believe, the most plentiful resource in a Quetzali game. So probably fruit it will be. Okay, so this turn here, um, still suffering from that little bit of slowness because of the not training another warrior. They probably would have been able to go ahead and take another village very soon, and that would definitely help. What also would have helped if they spawned way closer to the water. And in this map, it is really not a bunch of it. Here, let's turn that off. See, this is not a very water-rich map, which is quite unfortunate for them. Yeah, so that didn't really help with that case. So let's continue. We don't find a village here, or we get quite unlucky, but it's okay because, well, it's okay. It's just okay. Sometimes you get unlucky. They get a workshop. That's the right choice, probably. And they upgrade that city immediately, which is great. We got org here, as was to be expected, so we can upgrade that. Oh, here we go again. They get riding before even training another unit. I would definitely advise against that, because you really need to focus on expansion early in the game, because villages are just so incredibly important for the rest of the game. If you can get the early advantage, you are definitely in the lead for the early part of the game. So that's just a nice hint to improve your gameplay experience. Yep. Here we get quite nice village, get a workshop, and finally on, what is it, turn 5, they train another unit, which is going to be a rider. Definitely incredibly slow, but it's okay. It's just a learning game, and we are just trying to teach. So Polaris is also not the easiest tribe to play, so I definitely give them some credit for trying this out against me. And maybe if some guys of you would like to also get their games analyzed and get some advice, as much as I am capable of doing that. I mean, I'm not perfect at this game or anything, so yeah. Just hit me up in the on Discord or anything, or just comment. That would work. Just give me a replay or something. I will definitely make some videos or something about that, or if it's just a small amount of advice, I can just comment on it. Just let me know if you're interested in that, and I will definitely consider doing that. Right, here you go. We get resources. We got quite unlucky with all of these villages spawning so far away from us. They get hunting. They upgrade that city very well. Get resources. That is the correct choice in that particular case. We do the same, and yeah, look at our look at the difference. We have 4 units, and we have 12 stars per turn, which is okay at the end of turn 6. And they have 2 units. I mean, it is a rider and a Mooney, but still, they only have 2 cities, and they have 4 technologies, whereas we currently we currently have 2 technologies, and we don't need any technologies. So that's quite a huge difference I see quite often when playing against newer players, or players that are not as experienced, is that they like to just grab a whole bunch of technologies and then go from there. But you really need to think which technologies you're going to need for the rest of the game, because Polaris is very interesting in that regard, because you probably want polarism and ice fishing, because Polaris is incredibly strong when you can freeze a whole bunch of stuff, and if you can combine it with riding, that's incredibly nice as well. And you also want probably archery, but that's just a whole bunch of technologies that are not all of that economic, and that's just going to take you some time, and you need to get there first. You can't just go rushing into it because it is incredibly expensive. It's probably better to first expand and grow your economy. Even though the technologies are going to be way more expensive, it is usually better to wait and expand first. Alright, so they pick resources for that. Now they start training units. And we are upgrading our cities very well. See, they get ice fishing. I think that was a good choice, because they would otherwise be unable to upgrade this city at all. To like a, what am I saying? They're not to like the correct level, but they're going to probably need ice fishing for polarism. So in that case, that is a good choice. But they could have probably waited, because as you can see, they could have saved some stars and trained units instead. Don't get me wrong, they're definitely not playing badly for someone who hasn't played more than 5 PvP games. I'm not saying that. Also, show some love in the comments for them trying to play against me in a game. Very brave. What did I want to say next? Yeah, the balance between units, technologies, and upgrading is incredibly hard. This takes a lot of time to get used to, and even kind of professional players really struggle with that sometimes. You really sometimes need to just gamble that one or the other choice will be better for specific conditions. So yeah, you just have to get used to making that kind of choice. And sometimes you're just wrong, and that's okay. You learn from it. Here we got a whole bunch of stars, and our explorer goes absolutely nowhere. We try to be funny and take diplomacy, because I want to absolutely ruin the fun of our opponent here by just bamboozling them with the diplomacy cloak. We get to see their capital, and we get to upgrade that city. I was just curious whether or not there was a land bridge connecting us there. There wasn't, so that was very nice. They get sledding. They're sweating with the sledding, which is not the most useful at this point. Also, they could have upgraded these cities, I believe both of them. Let's see. Let's plan this turn out. Okay, so spend 6 stars, upgrade this, gained 5 back. So that would be 13 stars left over. This guy can move over here. Let's see their vision. Let's see their vision. Okay, so let's do the following. Upgrade this. We have 13 stars left. This guy moves over here. Or maybe this is better. This guy moves over here. Then you can go over here, probably see something. Then you can capture this and upgrade with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 twice. Get some resources. This is 10 stars spent and you get 5 back. So then we have 8 stars left over. Then this warrior can go over here. You can put your Mooney somewhere on the ice tiles. Preferably going towards something useful, but there's nothing to see here yet. And probably train a rider here to go... Oh yeah, definitely train a rider, so that can go onto the ruin as soon as possible. Yeah, I think that is a decent turn. Maybe train another unit in these cities. And yeah, that would be a perfectly fine turn. So you don't particularly need sledding in that particular turn, I don't think. Here we get archery because we are seeing a Mooney and we don't know exactly what the situation is, but Moonies can overall be dealt with quite easily if you position your units at least somewhat decently. Also, archers are just good at dealing with these units because they are capable of staying out of range somewhat. So, yeah. I make a misplay, I believe. Do I? Nope, I don't. I was thinking about upgrading the city, but... Okay, a small remark. They have a Mooney here that has the eye icon, which means that there is a cloak nearby. And I don't know if they were aware of that fact, because this is a very small and minor detail. But there is definitely a cloak nearby. And from this movement, they should be able to at least deduct some knowledge about the whereabouts of this cloak. So the cloak can be anywhere from anywhere on one of these 3 tiles, because they would have both been triggering the Mooney on both of these positions. So yeah, you want to get rid of that cloak as fast as possible, because cloaks are incredibly annoying and they also are very expensive. Here again, very important to note that they picked Free Spirit and Chivalry, so credits to them for spending all of the money on that kind of stuff. Or did they get that from the ruin? Oh yeah, they got that from the ruin. Lucky them. So, instead they could have just upgraded these cities, because you don't need Chivalry at this point. Look at the tech tree. With the 15 stars per turn they are making. Ooh. I don't think that they needed all of that, but sure. Back to us. Here we can kill that Mooney. Also a very incredibly expensive unit. Probably could have been better to move this warrior down here just to get the lighthouse, but doesn't matter all that much. Upgrade XX. And we get a cloak there because why not? I like some cloaks sometimes, you know. Want to try to poke them with the cloaks. Could be effective. Yep. Whether it was genius or just pure luck, they managed to hit the warrior here and then reveal this cloak. Yeah. So they probably would have been able to... Oh, no, they are not. No, they are not able to hit us. Okay. But that is good to know that they found that cloak. And Chivalry is a very good counter against cloaks. Usually, if you don't have archery and climbing. Because knights can one-hit warriors when they don't have defense bonus. But once a cloak pops on a city, it spawns a whole bunch of daggers that are basically warriors. Um, but if you have a defense bonus on any tile, you can they prefer to stand on mountains and on forest tiles. So it's literally programmed to make it harder for your opponent to counter it. So that's interesting to note. We try to bamboozle them with the cloak on the mountain, because when it's invisible, and if you don't have climbing, you can't reveal this cloak. So that was kind of a smart move on my part. Not going to pat myself on the back, but that was kind of a smart move. Yep, we get climbing because I wanted that ruin, but it also helps with the cloak movement as well as some other things. Right, so let's get right into their turn. Yep, they get a nasty night chain. Probably could have microed a little bit better. On accident, they break their eyes. Yeah, that is not the greatest plan. Also, they get a wall for some reason. I like sometimes to get a wall, but in this case I don't see much use for it, but sure. Now they upgrade that city, huh? Good to know. Look at the difference between our economy and theirs. It's shrinking. Even though we have way more cities than they do. Yeah, I'm not microing very well. We chop a whole bunch of forest just to upgrade that city. Don't know exactly why I did that. Look at this. They found my cloak. They did find that cloak. Aha! A cloak was revealed. I was unaware that cloaks would reveal themselves when they use the break ice ability. And so that's exactly why this cloak was over here. So, oops. My bad. I learned something from this game, and that is that cloaks are revealed when they use the break ice ability. Let's continue. Finally go and try to get a giant over here. And with that we can also push it towards the center of the map. That's how the push order works. And then it is able to hit the knight here and bounce back. So, good move. Population growth. Yep, let's get a giant over there as well. We do leave ourselves quite vulnerable to this Mooney over here. What they can do with that, what is this knight doing? This warrior, I believe, is what I mean. This warrior should move away, then they can freeze this tile. Move the Mooney over here, freezing this tile, which allows them to, as well as these two, which allows them to hit this rider, possibly. Also, this works. Yep. They see another cloak being around, which is incredibly scary. And they get polarism, which is possibly the best technology for them. Once again, I did forget that the cloak revealed itself when... yeah, so that's not the greatest plan. I do make a lot of mistakes, actually, in this game. I mean, it was just a fun game after all. I was just curious to see what was going to happen with this cloak, because it was definitely sneaking through the lines. And I wanted to see whether or not they had some defense here against a possible cloak attack. Which they didn't. So, uh-oh. There goes my cloak. And here they upgrade. They get a workshop. They did not like the idea of getting an explorer, even though they probably should have done that to get some more ideas of what we were doing. So that's a minor misplay, I think. Definitely in one of these, whether either this city or either one of these. Probably could have gone with a cloak there. Cloak with an explorer there would be a good idea. Yep, we see it's just city, and we start finally moving our units so that the knight can't just go around and kill everything. They managed to unsiege, that's fine. And they could have night chained here a little bit, but it's not worth it. They pick another city wall, and yeah, they have quite some moonies actually. That's quite interesting. Don't see much use for them at that point. And we do micro very efficiently here, because this defender here is going to move, is going to stop the movement of this Moonie, as well as this Moonie, so they can't freeze this giant here, which is really important, because if that giant would get frozen, it doesn't do anything anymore for the rest of the game. And here we siege their capital with a cloak attack. And as I tried to tell you before, there is a village here. And we siege that other city as well. We get roads just for funsies. At this point it is over because they can't unsiege, and they didn't know that a capital loss just loses you the game. So that's definitely something that they could have learned from. And I also hope that you've learned something from this game. So if you did learn anything, whether it was upgrading the correct cities first or getting the right technologies at the right time, don't get spiritualism. Just also the opener for Polaris, which can be incredibly hard, and I will maybe make a guide, a better overall strategy guide for Polaris. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed and learned something, and I hope I'm going to see you in the next video, and I hope you're going to like and subscribe. That is it for today. Hope y'all enjoyed. See you in the next one. See ya!